I'm starting to wonder whether as we grow, we start to become wastes of the sperms and ova we unite. Fire we aim to ignite, spread light, but end up spreading spite. Spite that has coded love to be, but only a goddess of discord, to which we heed, for which we breed, to be the she for he, for the betterment of the we. Our families, our households, our nation. Yet she, through her struggles, encounters trials she can't mention. First, she starts to go to school comfortably, waking up every day, heading to it lively. And this is just not where the story begins. She starts to outgrow childhood, approaching womanhood via teenagehood, but they won't let her get there ardently. So as she grows teenly, her glow starts to have them slabber. She has changed not but the way she's viewed hers a lot. And this is just not where the story begins. The path that once gave her high fives starts to sting her like angry bees from their hives. She ignores. Sister, sister, she gives a cold ear. A whoop on her ass, she holds a tear. But to where can she run away from here? This is the only path she ever knew, yet in a trace it seems all new, the new she never ever knew. Her joy starts to sink, her inner peace starts to shrink. Herself and hope start to get in sync. To herself she starts to think, nothing comes easy, nothing comes easy. So the next day, she hits the path that takes her to school every day. But today, her way stabbed her in the back. One of the sidelined her and took a 1-minute shot on her. Her painful screams could not save her, because here in this place, rescue can't come when its need is not done. And yet still, this is not where her story begins. And like she did think, nothing comes easy, so did on her the capital D, because the rescue team was too busy figuring out whether it should be loyal to the or honest with the she. But loyalty always takes over, and we all know how that goes. At home, Mama and Tata agree to marry off their she to the for her own good, because they care more what society will think of them or how society will judge them more than their very own. But they won't tell her that. So like that, she went, filled with shame, her head bent. Her nights she spent beaten, bending over for a stranger. Her days cooking for a stranger, fetching wood, water for a stranger. To her, this was the strangest thing ever. And yet still, this is just not where the story begins. 9 months elapse. A bouncing baby boy is birthed. And loving her baby she did, for it she dropped out of school, even when it reminded her that she was a fool to remain but only a mere tool. Of course we know it wasn't her fault, but considering that, we are not taught. Because here in this place, the she takes blame for everything and the he gets away with anything. The question is, how will she raise her son to be exactly like its father, worse or better? And still, this is just not where the story begins. She continuously strives through life's strives, coded by society's pressures. Her, the area, they, the forces applied. They, the she's and his, the she's stigmatize, the his legitimize. Thought she that the she's would be a support pillar of sisterhood ATMs, but apparently they even lack a bank. And so the he's become the banks, and we all know how this goes. When the he's start to feed fragile egos, chauvinism, and the she's start to feed docile egos, feminism. Isms that lead unplanned battles. And yet still the story has not yet begun. If only feminism could entice chauvinism. If only chauvinism could propose to feminism. If only chauvinism could propose to feminism, could then chauvinists and feminists convert this battlefield to playfields? Could we have a friendly match? Groom she's for his and his for she's, to let the she be what she wants to be, what she should be, not what we think she should be. Let's be the she's we want to see. Let's be us. We. Let us just be. And now this is where the story begins.
I joined the media, I think a few months before I graduated from university. Actually, I joined New Vision on 1st October of 2001. There are so many changes. At the time I joined, the men thought were the ones who were supposed to do the hard stories. They're the ones who could go out in the field and do those night assignments and what. They're the ones who could do maybe the education lead, the health leads, the farming leads. But along the way, we realized that everybody could actually do those leads. Anyone could do those stories as long as you're passionate about what you want to do. It wasn't even allowed to do, it was just a perception. Until women came out and said, you know, we can also write these stories. We can also go to the war-torn area, you know, a war zone in northern, where even we had a girl here who used to cover stories from northern Uganda. Rest in peace, Carol Lamwaka. She went and was in the war, she covered the war. We had the lady Sheila Kawamala, she covered the Rwanda genocide war. So those are some of the stories you'd expect to be covered by men. But these women, these ladies came up and did a good job in some of those stories. Women win when they achieve what they want to achieve.
We interrupt this program to bring you this century's highlights of where women win. When Saudi women were allowed to drive, it made news. If you grew up in a liberal society, you might be a little bit confused. I mean, driving is such a commonplace thing, so why should it be covered by news crews? I mean, why should such a commonplace thing make the news? But women all over the world rejoiced with them, even if we hadn't walked a day in their shoes, because they were one step closer to freedom from misogynistic abuse. Safe to say the patriarchy wasn't amused. Long gone are the days of train her to raise the children and play with the dolls. Now girls sit side by side in classrooms with the boys. We build workshops from scratch and tinker with real-life toys. On our shoulders sit heads, constantly thinking ahead. Beauty no longer signifies an airhead, and that's why even the most beautiful women are now self-made. And do you remember that little girl that used to sell lemonade? Yeah, she's now a CEO. Like Solange, she has taken a seat at the table. Female exclusion from seats of power is now stories we shall tell our grandchildren, fables. We have beaten odds that no man thought possible before. With a firm handshake and an unwavering gaze, we have taken to the floor. And that's a 21st century woman, absolutely phenomenal. Relying on men has quickly become a thing of the past. I present to you a queen, Miss Independent. Her goals and her achievements are in alignment. She has left many men looking at her aghast and the naysayers eating their dust, living her self-cultivated life in contentment. So tell me, have you seen the woman emerge like a butterfly from a cocoon, causing change like a monsoon, shining like a full moon, outstanding as a flower in full bloom? Because for too long we dreamt in parables, living in the valley of your shadow, conditioned to believe that we were comfortable, unaware that our goals too were achievable. But now the worlds are caving with times are changing. Woman isn't just a vessel for babies, but also the representation of all future possible maybes, a beacon of hope that comes in all shapes, all colors, a kaleidoscope with a complex pattern, constantly changing, steadily revolving, and beautifully evolving.
Press for progress is to rise up against everything, is to move forward from the situations that we currently are in. Because as women, there are very many challenges that come in life, be it at work, at home, as mothers, sisters, and even as friends. So to press forward, especially in the financial times that we're having with all the challenges we're having from health and all, to press forward is to be resilient, is to keep on moving, is not to give up, is to be a woman. The one law that I think has come and changed is the anti-FGM law. Yeah, that is trying its best to eradicate a practice that really is prejudicial against women. You know, the female genital mutilation is not exactly a very good thing, even if we have our cultural rights and we have those attachments. But to mutilate a woman, to circumcise a woman in that manner is not right. And this law came in 2010. And I really pray that a lot is being done. We have reports every day that more and more are leaving the practice. I pray that a lot more can be done so that such a practice can be a thing of the history. Women win when we are resilient.
Haces lo que se te antoja. Lo que pasa es que me atrapas con tu piel. Y es que tú eres como un ciclón, como una amenaza. Y arrasa por donde pasa. Eres como una maldición que me tiene preso. Preso el cuerpo y lo peor no es eso. ¿Qué va? Es que te gusta el peligro y me arrastra a eso. Te cara arriba y lo mal hecho. Jugar con fuego, andar sin freno y con el corazón travieso. Te cara arriba y lo
3 decades, that's about 30 years, Uganda has been very, very progressive when it comes to women and policies and legislation. A number of policies have been put in place that help to augment or to uplift the status of a woman from what was known as a second-class citizen, because women previously were seen as second-class citizens. But now, because of our constitution, first of all, the 1995 constitution, we are all, it stipulates that we are equal. Yeah? So man, woman, we are all equal. That is called gender equality. And then we have, over the years, we've seen policies like the affirmative action policy, a very great policy that has uplifted the status of women. When it comes to politics, education, you have more women now accessing education because of affirmative policy. You have more women in parliament, yeah, because we have a specific slot that is meant for women, the women MPs. So you have that. If you have, for example, 112 districts in Uganda, so you are assured of 112 women MPs, which was not the case previously. Women win when they are able to play in areas that are supposed to be or are perceived to be men-dominated or that are perceived to be for men. But I think women win when they actually are able to stretch out, when they're able to do what they want to do, not when they're told what to do, but when they can choose, when they can decide. I think the key human right that has been taken away from women is that the power of decision making. I think that is what women need to take back. So women will only win when they can have the power to make decisions.
We are the daughters of the revolution, fighting for the next generation, inheritors of the burning torch that our grandmothers passed down to our mothers who are burned at the stake because being woman and powerful and intuitive is a crime in some states. Our mothers who are not accorded the luxury of love without the currency of obedience. The price they paid for their liberation was themselves packaged for adoration, pretty and perfect and proper, their silence adorning their necks like trinkets, their value dependent on their threshold for suffering. Our mothers who found it in themselves to write and petition and march so we could take for granted these freedoms that they fought tooth and nail for. The freedom to vote, the freedom to drive, to speak out of turn, to dress how we want. We owe them our laughter. These mythical beings of unwavering courage. We owe them our education, the knowledge they were begrudged, handed to us as a consolation prize. We owe them our ambition, the right to dream and see beyond tomorrow. We owe them our affection, this love we receive without condition or receipts. We weep for these women, our sighs heavy in the face of such resilience. But they ask not for tears or endless wringing of hands in remorse and regret, but rather for us to stand and speak and fight like they did when they were backed into corners. The onus is on us to carry their legacy, to win so the girls that come after us can win too. This is where we win.
Speaking from my own experience, I have discovered that strength comes with the kinds of adversity you face. Now, what I go through is very different from what, say, you will go through. I lost a husband. Now, that was a time that my strength was tested to a level I did not even believe I had. But I also learned that when you have no choice but to be strong, you will wake up in the morning, cry all you can the night before, but when you wake up in the morning and you go on, when you wake up in the morning and nobody knows. While in the past, the feminism movement was about get this done, get this done. We took that into the home and we were sort of losing a certain direction. But the women I've talked to, the women we have profiled, you will notice that even where they're strong, where she's a CEO, she will still find a way to make things work for husband and children and home. She might not be there practically every day from morning to evening, but she will set up a system where you will know it was her hand that makes the home work.
On this Women's Day, I just want us as women to remember that God created us as unique human beings, each with our own talent, each with our own special role to play, each with our own goals. And whatever it is, I think the key thing is to discover what is my gift, what is my role to play, why am I here, what is my purpose. And in discovering it, then just going all out for it and making sure that you give your best and you win day to day. If you're called to be a mother, if we're all called to be different, if you're called to be a CEO, if you're called to be a chief gardener, whatever it is, a head cook, whatever it is, we can all win, especially if we know what our purpose is.
The year is 2065. The definition of a slave queen is not based on the notions of Snapchat, Sivok, contraceptives, and Njawala. Our bodies are not highly sexualized capitalistic enterprises labeled as shameful and disgusting for bleeding once a month, or our clitoris termed as forbidden and cast since female pleasure is a myth. Yet our wombs are the bridge between existence and extinction of the human race. Women understand that their bodies are theirs. Better yet, men understand women's bodies are not property they are entitled to. The women on the streets, the women seated behind me in the taxi, the women in my village, my clan, my church, my workplace are my sisters, and their children are my children, and my children are their children, because sisterhood is as important as the pepper spray our grandmothers kept in their bags. Sisterhood is as important as the women and men who broke the silence on sexual abuse through the #MeToo campaign. Sisterhood is as important as religion that does not require women to be modest, to be respected, because no God is going to judge you according to your sex. Women like Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the first female head of state, both in Africa and the world. Justice Julia Sabutinde, the first African woman to sit at The Hague. Faith Mwanda, the first female IGG, and Winnie Byanyima, Uganda's first aeronautic engineer to lead Oxfam International, are the essential definition of slave queens, beating all odds at all times. Their diligence, intelligence broke the glass ceiling and went to places that the world thought we could not go. And now, girls go to school to pursue their dreams, instead of sitting at home waiting for Prince Charming to see if the shoe fits, because they too now know they are powerful and valuable and deserve an opportunity to take a seat at the table.
We don't know how she always finds a way, the mystery of a woman, a savior in a time of need, the bravery of a woman. In your time of need, she does the deed, the magic of a woman. Woman, woman, a warrior is a woman. Woman, woman, a savior is a woman. Woman, woman, a warrior is a woman. Woman, woman, A savior is a woman, yeah. Yeah.